Welcome Year 9, this is the music options, virtual options evening. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about GCSE music, and I've started off with this quote. Music is a piece of art that goes in the ears straight to the heart. I think it's an important way to think about music as we progress through the 2 years, should you choose it as an option. The subject is focusing on the three main areas of musicianship. So that is your performing skills, your composing skills, and your appraising skills. These are the same skills that you're doing in your Key Stage 3 lessons, but naturally they're going to be at a much higher level for those of you taking it at Key Stage 4. In performing, you're going to be thinking about, or how can you perform successfully as a solo artist, as a performer on your own, but also how can you perform with a range of other performances in an ensemble or as a group, and you will be assessed in your ensembleship. That means your ability to work in relation to other parts. In terms of composing, you're going to be assessed on how effectively you write a piece of music, firstly in a style of your own choice, but secondly in the style of a brief that will be given to you. If you think about the need to go out into a world of work, you can't necessarily always be writing music for yourself. You may have to write a piece of music for somebody else's vision. So that's why you'll be composing for a brief and for your free composition. And then thirdly and finally, you're going to be spending a lot of time listening and appraising to music. What that means is you'll be listening to, for example, a piece of soft rock music and saying, well, what makes this typical of soft rock? What makes this music appropriate to dance to? Why is this piece of music suitable or typical of the music of the Baroque era? Those are the types of questions that you'll be expected to listen to, and be listening to unfamiliar pieces of music as well as set pieces that we'll cover in a lot of detail in lesson. So what you'll study over the course, just like I said, is performing. That means playing music, and it can be in any style. So if you are a violin player, you can play your violin. If you're a guitarist, you can play your guitar. It's not necessarily going to be the keyboards because we're doing a keyboard topic anymore. Instead, it's going to be personalised to you. Unlike Key Stage 3, there's not a huge amount of performing in lesson time. Instead, the expectation is on you now, as an independent performer, as an independent musician, to go and practice at your own time, rather than, for example, in Key Stage 3 in Year 9 at the minute, we might be everyone's doing keyboards in their band project. That's not going to be the case at GCSE. In terms of exploring how great pieces of music you're going to be put together when you're composing, you'll be studying and breaking down into a lot of detail the older pieces of music, pre-existing materials, and using them to inform you as you go onto your composition. Remember, that's you writing music. Music doesn't just appear out of the ether, it comes from being developed from other musicians and other artists and other composers' works, taking features that are typical of the style and using that to inform you. And a key part of your composition is not just the composition itself, but there's a log that goes with it, a written log, whereby you outline where your ideas came from and why you've chosen to include them in your composition. The last bit in terms of what you'll study at GCSE is 3 of your lessons a fortnight will be theory lessons. Now, when I say theory, I don't really mean music theory in terms of reading notation. I mean listening to music, praising music. So we'll listen to a set work and we'll say, well, what can we hear in this piece of music? And it'll be classroom based rather than a practical lesson as you normally think of it. That is something that you need to be aware of should you choose GCSE music, is that it is different from Key Stage 3 in that sense. The exam breakdown, 30% of your course is the performance. That takes the form of 2 pieces of music. At least, you could do more than 2, but it has to be at least 2 pieces of music that last between 4 and 6 minutes. And it has to be recorded in the year of assessment. What that means is that it's going to be done in Year 11. So you can practice throughout Year 10, and you will be practicing probably from now, some of your pieces for you to progress on, but they have to be actually physically recorded when you get into Year 11. One piece must be an ensemble, so that means you must be working with musicians. Like I said before, you're being assessed on your ensembleship and your ability to work with other musicians. And one piece must be linked to an area of study, and I'll go into detail about what those areas of study are in a second. Grade 3 standard is the minimum standard. Grade 3 ability. That does not mean, to be clear, that you have to have a grade 3 in an instrument. It means that you have to be grade 3 ability by the end of Year 11, and that's important to remember, but also that that's a minimum. If you are working at grade 4 standard, we can give, or above, we can give you additional marks, which means if you make 1 or 2 mistakes in your performance, you can still end up getting full marks. And the best performers, the students who end up getting 7, 8, 9s, tend to be the performers who are working at grade 4 or above standard. The breakdown of the composition component, again, it's non-exam assessment again, so it's almost this coursework kind of idea. 2 pieces, like I said, one's written to a brief that will be given to you at the start of year 11, and one will be free in whatever style you'll want to write in. That being said, you'll work with your teacher to ensure that you're meeting the criteria quite closely. So the third component is your appraising, that's your exam. That makes up 40% of your GCSE course, and it's sat at the end of year 11. Now, there's 8 questions, 2 to come from each area of study. So the first area of study, and this links to your performance that I spoke about a second ago, that one of your performances has to be linked to these as well. So the first area of study is musical forms and devices. Now, that includes the set work, and the set work you will study is called Badineri, which is by J.S. Bach, which is a Baroque composition. And you'll look at how the piece of music has been put together with the different forms in terms of different sections of music, and the devices, the way in which the composer has written the music to allow for that structure, that form to take place. The second area of study is music for ensemble. We'll be looking at, for example, maybe some jazz music, looking at how the ensemble has been written, how it's been written for the different parts, and how does the lead instrument, the most important part of the melody, how is that passed around, how is that developed throughout the piece of music. The third element, area of study, should I say, is film music. So that's looking at existing film music and seeing, well, how does it give off the effect of tension? How does the music be written in a way that gives off a feeling of romance? So it's thinking about how emotions can be conveyed through music for film. And then the last one's popular music. So what are the genres of music? What's the range of genres of music? And what are the key features that make it distinguishable as, for example, soft rock? Why should you choose a subject? Well, because if you already sing and play an instrument, it means you just get to get a great GCSE out of it. And you get to develop your skills over those 2 years. It gives you the time to focus on improving your musicianship. If you're a creative person, then you want to learn to make music, this will give you that opportunity. It'll give you that opportunity to be creative and perhaps break up your school day to allow you to be creative. And just generally, if you just love music, if you're the sort of person who ends up constantly always listening to music, always tapping along, always singing along, always playing all the different beats and air drumming and all sorts, then music will be a perfect subject for you because it shows that you're absolutely committed and dedicated and love the subject. Those are all reasons why you might want to take it. Now, why is music a really relevant and important subject? Well, we know that you're going to go out into the world of work and you need to be able to be creative. You need to go out into industry, into businesses, no matter what they are, and come up with creative solutions to problems. Now, the World Economic Forum, who are a group of senior business leaders, have identified that creativity is the most important workplace skill to help their businesses survive and grow. The most important skill you can have is to be creative. So I absolutely implore you to choose a creative subject, to give you a rounded education, to give you a strong skill set for when you enter the world of work. And it means that creative subjects like music, it means that they're becoming even more important and relevant now, more than ever. Whatever your ambition, it doesn't matter what you want to go in and do. It may well be in music, and for many of you it will be. But for some of you, that might not be your long-term aspiration, but it's still an important skill to be creative. The careers it could lead you to, the possibilities are absolutely endless. It gives you a range of skills that employers really, really want and are highly desirable, like your creativity, like your ability to work with other people, like your ability to come up with creative solutions, like your ability to work long-term at a project, all things that are explicitly covered in the music GCSE. It's also really, really well regarded by colleges and sixth forms. They see it as a rigorous, a challenging GCSE because it involves such a wide range of skills, and universities really highly look for it. It gives you loads of opportunities when you take GCSE music, and especially if you take it at A-level or further study, to meet interesting people, to go out and just make the most of the world in your future life. Many people who take GCSE music go on to study music at university, so for example Oxford, Cambridge, or music colleges. There's lots of specialist music colleges all over the country. But also many universities offer it as a subject as well. It can be studied on its own as a degree subject. That's what I've got. I've gone to university to do that. But it can also support you if you want to go off and do another subject or another degree. Like I said, it's seen as a really rigorous, challenging, important subject. It's always looked upon really favourably by all colleges and by all universities. Before you choose music, there's 5 questions. They're on your in your options booklet, and I want you to really consider them. They are: do you play or sing at grade 3 ability minimum? And if you don't yet, which is fine, will you be by the end of year 11? I'm not going to stand here and say that it's going to be an easy ride if you don't, but you have to be committed to meeting that target. If you're not, we're not going to be able to get you the best grade possible. That is something that I just have to be honest with you straight away. Are you interested in writing your own music? Are you willing to contribute to the musical ethos and culture of the school? Are you willing to be attending extracurricular clubs in your own time? Are you interested in learning about a wide range of music, not just the music that you like necessarily, but maybe music that you've never experienced before, and listen with an open mind and understand why music has developed the way it has? And do you want to be able to discuss music in a critical and convincing manner rather than just, yeah, I like this? Talk specifically about it. To summarise, I've left another little quote. Music is not just what I listen to, it's who I am. And that absolutely embodies my belief and my passion for music. It is everything. It is absolutely everything about my life. And if that is where you are sat and you are thinking, I love my subject and I know so many of you do, then music would be a great option for you to choose.